Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cargill Presentation number 2. For a little bit of review, Cargill's been a family-owned company since 1865. They offer a broad range of agricultural products, brands, and services. Their company goals involve nourishing the world. They want to utilize their supply chain and technology to do so. Their short-term strategy, they're really differentiating themselves from their competition with their technology. And the public criticism they've received some flack recently just because of the things that they've gotten themselves into.
All right, so a little bit about their internal analysis. Some of their tangible assets include processing plants, machinery, and inventory, pretty similar to any other processing company. Their intangible assets are around their trade secrets, so a lot of their formulas are what really sets them apart from their competitors. They have strong brand equity and recognition, and then their patents for different ingredients that they've developed, including sweeteners and sugars, starches, and then different corn and soy products. So their VRIO, we start with, is it valuable? So they have all these different sectors, and these different sectors are the leaders in each of their areas. So we would say, yes, this is they have valuable products that they're selling to consumers. So we move on to, is it rare? They do have a lot of competitors, including Bunge, Ingredion, Simplot, and General Mills, to name a few. So we would put this at somewhat, just because there are a lot of other competitors, making it not so rare, and maybe something that they have to work a little bit harder to stay a leader in. And then we move into, is it costly to imitate? So in 2019 alone, Cargill spent $2.18 billion on acquisitions and new facilities. So we would say, yes, it is costly to imitate, because they do have such large funding to get these, or to make these things possible and to stay cutting edge. Moving on to if they're organized to capture value. One of their strong points is their supply chain. It's very efficient, and that helps them reduce costs for their suppliers. And then also they've had 150 years of operations. So I think they've proved over the years that they are organized to capture value.
So Cargill has several alliances, but I'm just going to touch on 3. The first one is the World Wildlife Fund. They are partnered with Cargill to collaborate to improve sustainability of agriculture, beef, dairy, palm, soy, and several other supply chains around the world. And this alliance has been very successful. They have worked on forest protection, food security, and food waste programs. Another one of their alliances is the CARE Foundation, and they are focused on improving food security, nutrition, livelihoods, and governance for communities in South America and Africa. This has also been a very successful alliance, as they have directly reached more than 400,000 people and indirectly reached more than 1.75 million people. And lastly, we have the World Resources Institute. They're partnered with Cargill to better manage deforestation and water risk. This has been a successful alliance along with the other 2, as they have impacted around 70 countries and reduced emissions and food waste. So Cargill doesn't have a specific identifiable alliance management organization to organize all of these alliances. However, they do have a community engagement team, and that organizes their volunteers, partnerships, and community giving programs. And then in the last 3 years, Cargill has also acquired a couple different companies, one of them being ProPet LLC. They're a manufacturer of pet foods, and Cargill acquired them to expand their pet distribution channels and to expand those into different countries as well, and just to strengthen their pet foods division. And they also acquired Conspol SP. Conspol produces and processes chicken and chicken products in Poland, and Cargill acquired this company so that they could expand their poultry business into Europe. While these acquisitions didn't eliminate any competitors, it strengthened their supply chains and their distribution channels, and so they've been very successful acquisitions.
Moving on to a SpongeBob themed SWOT analysis and their strengths. Cargill invests a lot of money in their technological expertise, and we feel this is their main core competency, as they invest a lot into R&D, and they're also constantly on the lookout for startups and cutting-edge acquisitions to strengthen their technology. Some weaknesses they have involve mainly just negative PR, and this has pretty much been their Achilles heel lately, but they can mitigate this by just renewing their public relations efforts and staying on top of things and also being careful on what they get themselves involved in and the promises that they make, because sometimes they get themselves into trouble with their good intentions. Some opportunities that Cargill has involve global penetration and untapped markets, as there are several countries around the world, many countries around the world that Cargill doesn't do business in yet. And some untapped markets include rural consumers as well as selling directly to consumers like you and me. Lastly, some threats that Cargill faces involve global economic instability and competition. But like SpongeBob and Patrick are afraid of a little butterfly, this won't be a big deal for Cargill as long as they maintain efficient supply chain operations and they'll be able to deal with anything that comes their way.
So speaking of the organizational design, a Cargill follows the traditional organizational structure, and this structure is hierarchical. This means that power flows vertically and upward, and employees are departmentalized. All employees follow a chain of command. This in turn creates a better environment for communication because employees are related in terms of function and the job context is understood within departments. There's also more coordination, and with expertise at the top of the chart, there is more room for innovation. If you look at the chart on the right, it shows the sales department of Cargill. And their competitive advantage is how they accurately price supply and demand and trend information to partner more strategically with suppliers. An example is how Cargill develops a 5-year forecast in order to reduce risks. And then to avoid inertia, Cargill always plans ahead, and they could have executives lead by an example and make sure they're effectively communicating their management to prevent falling into inertia. So looking at their recommendations, as William mentioned, Cargill needs to intensify their response to renewed public relation effort and explore different ways in order to involve their low-level employees. Cargill's is responding to the current pandemic by working with nonprofit partners in order to support local food banks. And they're also developing emergency food boxes to address nutrition needs. They're working around the clock with farmers and customers to continue feeding the world safely and responsibly. And lastly, extra health precautions are being taken, and employees' health and well-being are being prioritized as they're essential in delivering the food we need to stay healthy and nourished. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, please let us know.